In May 1998, the body of an Asian female was found on a side of the road in Spartanburg, South Carolina. She passed away due to suffocation. On September 25th of the same year, a landscaping crew cutting grass under a billboard along Industrial Drive in Mebane, North Carolina, found the remains of a young boy. It was believed that he had a light brown complexion and could potentially be Hispanic. Sketches of the woman and the boy were made to try and identify them, to no avail. In October 2018, DNA technology was more advanced, and it was realized that the boy had one white parent and one Asian parent. In December 2018, Dr. Barbara Ray Venter, who is known for her work in DNA, took a look at the boy's case. She was able to match his DNA to one of his family members who submitted their information into the GEDmatch database. The boy was then identified as Bobby Adam Witt. His family did not report him missing because they believed that he and his mom went to live in South Korea. Investigators strongly believed that his mom could have been the woman whose body they also found. After DNA testing, it was confirmed that her name was Myung Hawa Cho and that she was Bobby's mom. Shortly after the identification, Bobby's father, John Russell Witt, confessed that he took the lives of Bobby and Myung. He pleaded guilty on January 15, 2020 and was sentenced to 58 years in prison. It is not known why he did what he did. Alicia Stansel was born in March 1994 in Phoenix, Arizona. Her mom, Toni Stansel, had been having a difficult time after leaving the Air Force. One night in December 1994, Toni left Alicia with a friend of hers, claiming that she needed a few days to clear her head. When Toni came back 2 days later, the baby was gone. She only reported Alicia as missing the next year in March of 1995. Investigators tried to find Alicia, but were unable to. Toni's life was taken later in the year in what remains an unsolved case. In 2008, cold case detectives developed a DNA profile for Alicia using genetic material from her living family members. Software was then used to create images to show what she might look like in the years since her disappearance. In 2014, a woman in Connecticut walked into hospital with no ID. A nurse started searching missing persons online. She discovered an age-progressed picture of the missing Alicia Stansel, and it looked like the woman. A DNA test was then done, and it was confirmed that this woman was in fact the missing Alicia Stansel. She had been adopted and raised under a different name. Besides that, we do not know much about her, and it seems like she wants it that way. Arlis Dykema grew up in Bismarck, North Dakota. In August 1974, 19-year-old Arlis married Bruce Perry. The two of them then moved to the Stanford University campus, where Bruce was a medical student. Arlis started to work as a receptionist at a local law firm. Just after 11 p.m. on the night of October 12, 1974, Arlis and Bruce had an argument. Arlis told her husband that she was going alone to the Stanford Memorial Church, and the two of them went their separate ways. When Arlis did not make it back home, Bruce got worried and reported her missing. Officers from the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office went to the church, but found all of the doors to be locked. The next morning, campus security guard Stephen Crawford found Arlis's body around 5:45 a.m. in the church. An ice pick was sticking out of the back of her head. She had been assaulted and strangled. Investigators looked into her husband and the security guard, but they passed the polygraph test, and there were no concrete evidence that either of them committed the crime. In 2018, with more advanced DNA, investigators decided to do DNA testing on a DNA they found at a crime scene back in 1974 had belonged to the attacker. Investigators were then able to confirm that Stephen Crawford was the one that ended Arliss's life. On June 28, 2018, the police arrived at his house to arrest him, but Stephen locked his door and ended his own life. Jessica Lynn Keene was born on September 24, 1975 in Columbus, Ohio. In 1990, 15-year-old Jessica was a model student. She had high grades and was a cheerleader. Her grades dropped and she quit cheerleading, however, when she met a boy and fell in love with him. On March 4, 1991, her parents went to a free counseling center in Columbus asking for help, as they did not know what else to do with Jessica. The Home for Troubled Teens offered residents for 2 weeks, individual and family counseling sessions. On March 15, she left the home to go shopping. Jessica was last seen alive at a bus stop at around 6 p.m. When she did not make her way back to the home, the police were called. 2 days later, her body was found in a Foster Chapel cemetery, about 20 miles from her home. She had been assaulted and hit with a blunt object. Evidence showed that she ran in a cemetery, trying to get away from her attacker. The initial investigation focused on Jessica's boyfriend, Sean Thompson. He was ruled out as a suspect, however, as DNA evidence cleared him in this case. In 2008, investigators finally got a break they were looking for. A man by the name of Marvin Lee Smith was arrested for a different case. When his DNA was taken, they found that his DNA matched the DNA found at a crime scene in Jessica's case. Marvin confessed to taking her life. He was sentenced to life in prison.
Are you all my personal dreams?